Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a dominant Shadow Scizor team that I built that has been absolutely shredding opponents in the Love Cup. Whether you see good leads, bad leads, honestly, this team doesn't really care. It just provided really consistent results, and I've gone positive with it in every set that I've ran, and climbed up to top 100 in the entire world. The team is as follows: Shadow Scizor with Fury Cutter, Dragonair, and Galarian Slowbro. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and I'm going to be showcasing how the team works. Hopping into the first match, leading Shadow Scizor into Lickitung. This is a cup dominated by rollout users, so Lickitung is going to be one of the most common leads that you're going to see, and Shadow Scizor can do pretty decently here. Shadow Scizor is a very frail Pokemon. It cannot take a hit. As a result, people love baiting it, assuming you're going to shield Scizor. So you can very reliably call baits with the Shadow Scizor, and if you no-shield the Body Slam bait, you actually win the zeros. I wasn't quite sure of that in this first battle, so I end up switching out into the Dragonair, but my opponent is going to look to bank some energy on Lickitung and now bring in Medicham. Medicham is going to be met with Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw from the Dragonair. They can survive this, but it will put them perilously low, so my opponent will decide to use the first shield of the match. Medicham farming up, throwing on alignment there. I decide just to let this go. They throw a Dynamic Punch, and that tells me that they are not running Ice Punch. If they had Ice Punch, they would have thrown it, as it's their cheaper move. So they're on Psychic plus Dynamic Punch, and there's the Psychic coming out from the Medicham. Medicham gonna try and make it to another move, but Galarian Slowbro is gonna get the full farm down, and the opponent will resign the match. We move into the next match, and it's the same lead as last time, Shadow Scizor against Lickitung. So, exact same game plan as before. Staying in with the Scizor, firing off the Trailblaze right before they're able to get to their Earthquake. Trailblaze into Lickitung is going to be no-shielded. They're going to fire off this move, and I'm starting to no-shield instantly. I'm getting very confident. People absolutely refuse to throw the nuke move at Shadow Scizor, so you can pretty confidently no-shield when shields are up. I'm gonna get to a Night Slash. I decide to bank it for later and send in Dragonair. Dragonair, more than happy to absorb a Body Slam opponent, is gonna switch into Ariados, and if this is their response to Dragonair, then they do not have a response to Dragonair. That Dragon Claw does quite a lot of damage. Opponent is going to go for the lunge. As long as I can KO in 3 debuffed Dragon Tails, they're not getting to another move here. It's going to be close, but Dragonair does get that farm down. They still have 1 HP available on the Lickitung and an entire unknown third Pokemon. It's Lurantis, and there's just nothing Lurantis can do against Galarian Slowbro, so the opponent will resign the match. Tough opponent in the next match, going up against a regional champion, Kasim33, and is our third Lickitung lead in a row. Lickitung going to be hit with the Trailblaze as always. We're getting very comfortable with how to play out these leads, and you're never going to guess what comes next. Instant no shield with the Shadow Scizor. There's no way they're throwing a nuke move at me, and they keep body slamming Scizor. I can tank this next Body Slam no problem, and then win the zeros by firing off a Night Slash or bank the move and switch out. I decide for the latter, banking the move, sending in Dragonair. This Dragon Tail will not quite KO, so my opponent is going to pivot out here to preserve that Lickitung for the endgame. In the back, they're going to send in Solrock. Solrock, not really an answer to Dragonair. Night Slash hits for super effective. We get the Night Slash boost, so some very good luck goes our way. I'm going to be shielding up and farming all the way down, as a boosted Dragonair is one of the scariest things you can see in this cup. And now what are they going to do? They have to bring in the third Pokemon here. They are going to send in the final Pokemon, and it's going to be their own Galarian Slowbro. I fire off this boosted Night Slash. They're going to shield, and there's a combo play with my Shadow Scizor. I banked this Night Slash from earlier, and now I get very good use out of it as I'm able to force the final shield. And now we're going to have the Galarian Slowbro mirror. I do get the 1-turn bring-in lag when I bring in the Slowbro, so I don't get the fast move sneak that I should. They're going to go for the Brutal Swing, and I will be firing off a Brutal Swing of my own. This Brutal Swing, not going to be enough to KO my opponent, but will get them very low, and now we have a true 50-50. We both have charge attacks. I decide to switch, and I get it right. I have a decent rank Galarian Slowbro. I thought that I was going to lose to Captai, so I get the call correct. I get the farm down of Lickitung, and we're going to get a win. The boost definitely helped in the mid game with farming down Solrock, but what it came down to was the catch, and we were able to get that prediction correct. Shadow Scizor versus Solrock. This is a dominant lead win for the Shadow Scizor, and they're staying in. Shadow Scizor by itself just completely breaks a lot of teams, and it appears that my opponent is running one of those teams. And matchups like these are why you want Fury Cutter over Bullet Punch. Fury Cutter has better energy generation, and bug damage is really good in this meta. Steel damage honestly doesn't do a lot for you, but bug damage is very, very strong. Night Slash is going to pick up the KO. I'm still extremely healthy. They're going to bring in Licky, and I get to fire off the Trailblaze. So they've already lost a shield. They've lost an entire Solrock. Now they've lost 2/3 of a Licky. Shadow Scizor can just completely take over games, and I didn't even get a boost in this one. Now I get to bring in Dragonair. It's Clefable in the back, and Fairy types, they are not going to prosper in this meta. In comes Galarian Slowbro, and the opponent will immediately resign the match. We have our second regional champion in 3 battles, battling against Pokémon. I save switch into Dragonair, as my opponent is going to stay in and fire off a Disarming Voice with Skeledirge. Disarming Voice is going to be shielded. My opponent now going to switch out into Medicham, and Medicham will immediately be answered with the Dragon Claw. Pokémon is opting for the counter Medicham, so counter going to have a lot better fast move damage in exchange for some truly terrible pacing. Dragon Claw is going to be no shielded Pokémon, getting himself as low as possible before he is going to fire off Dynamic Punch and deliver a knockout. I'm going to bring in Slowbro. Slowbro, farm it up quite a bit. In comes the Skeledirge. Slowbro normally beats Skeledirge, but I'm down a shield, which means I'm in a very bad position. I will fire off the Brutal Swing, grab the shield. Pato is going to go for the under tap here. Shadow Ball would do quite a lot. He goes for a Disarming Voice bait, and man, calling that bait could have been a potential win con, but unfortunately I did not. And now I try for a catch. I don't get it. He actually was running ABA Fire with Talonflame in the back, and unfortunately we lose the game, but we do get a 4-1 set. And now our third regional champion in 4 games, we're going up against Rise to the Occasion. Picking up a pretty okay lead here with the Shadow Scizor leading into Medicham. Medicham is on counter, and they're also on power-up punch. I'm realizing that because Fury Cutter is very fast, I can get the 2 Night Slashes, so Trailblazing will be a mistake. So I go for the Night Slash, and I get one final Night Slash, as my opponent is going to get the full counter farm down. And now I get to bring in Galarian Slowbro. My opponent is going to pivot to Ariados. Ariados firing off a lunge. I think I'm just going to store all the energy on the Slowbro, as Slowbro energy is incredibly flexible in this meta. And now I can just send in Dragonair. Dragonair going to be met with a lunge. I will commit the shield. And now I think I will actually go for an undercharge on the Dragon Claw. Rise is 1 away from the move, so if I can leave him in 1 Dragon Tail range, then I get an extra Dragon Tail, but he doesn't really get a lot of value, as unfortunately he's unable to make that lunge. Debuff Dragon Claw, not going to do a ton of damage, and now I have a choice to make. I decide to save the shield for Galarian Slowbro. Ice Punch picks up the KO. It's Skeledirge in the back, and this was the right call to save the shield for the Slowbro. We have all this stored energy. The one worry is a potential Incinerate farm down, but I have 1 residual Poison Jab, and that's going to win me this game because the second Incinerate will not register because this Brutal Swing KOs. So even though I'm very low, that Incinerate will not land, and I get to Poison Jab down the Medicham and clutch a very, very close game. We're back to old reliable in the next match, Shadow Scizor versus Licky. I was not kidding when I said Licky leads are extremely common, and I'm going to play it the exact same way. Trailblaze, call a bait, because people just do not like to full send against a Pokemon as glassy as Shadow Scizor, because it makes sense. Everyone should be shielding Shadow Scizor. It's too frail. But if they don't, then suddenly things get very uncomfortable as I pick up the KO with the Night Slash. In comes Medicham trying to counter down, but Shadow Scizor, Fury Cutter pacing is too good, making a boosted Night Slash, massive damage to the Medicham, and now I just get to send in Galarian Slowbro. There's that 1-turn bring-in lag once again. You absolutely hate to see it. They go for the Ice Punch. They have their own Slowbro in the back, and I can send in Dragonair, and that's a neutral enough matchup, but my opponent realizes there's no way they're going to win the game from that point forward. We see a very familiar lead, but a different moveset in the next match. Shadow Scizor versus Medicham. Opponent is going to send in Licky, and I mistimed the Trailblaze. Huge error by me as I give my opponent an entire rollout. But the nice thing is I have so much energy on this Scizor, I make it to another Trailblaze, but because I threw on alignment, my opponent does actually make the Earthquake. I will respect it. They're at 1 HP, and they still don't throw the nuke move. Lickies just don't know how to throw the nuke versus Scizor. They bring in the Medicham, and I get a devastating catch. That's a double resisted dynamic punch onto the Slowbro. And honestly, that looked like it healed the Slowbro there. That did so little damage. Medicham firing off Psychic. I was seeing a lot of Psychic Medichams. Personally, I do think Ice Punch Dynamic is the way to go if you're on Psycho Cut. I will go for the Surf. Surf is going to get them very low. In the back is going to be Miltank. Since they get the one-turn switch out, I can throw on 3 here, which would normally be on alignment, get a little bit of damage, and send in Druddigon. Druddigon, I'm very okay tanking a Body Slam. Miltank usually on Body Slam Thunderbolt, but Disaster Strikes, they're on Ice Beam, and suddenly I might have just lost this game. I send in the Scizor, firing off the Trailblaze, just looking to boost up my damage. Trailblaze into the Miltank is going to be shielded, and I know that I have to let this go. They've showed me Ice Beam. Ice Beam is resisted. Scizor can hang on. I do get them very low. Slowbro gets the farm down. Can I farm down Medicham as well? The answer is yes. And a Rogue Ice Beam almost derailed the team, but we're able to claw back and get a win. Great lead in the next match. Shadow Scizor leading into Ariados, and I get to start spamming out these Night Slashes. Due to Fury Cutter, I'm able to outpace the Ariados. 2 Night Slashes don't quite knock out, but I should be able to get a potential Fury Cutter down after. Opponent is going to land the lunge, so now I am, of course, debuffed. Firing off Night Slash number 2, we know this will not knock out, but it will get that Ariados deep into the red. I know their second lunge won't KO me either. I'm fully expecting to be sniped here after they go for the lunge, but they don't. Now I'm very low HP. In comes Licky. I try and save the Night Slash, but I did 2 Fury Cutters and attempted to switch, and that's a huge misplay from me. You could do 1 Fury Cutter and switch there. So I could have moved myself from 2 Fury Cutters away from the move to 1, and then potentially made the move versus Licky later. Here, Licky is going to land the Earthquake. That's going to force me into Slowbro, and in the back is Solrock. If I can land a Surf, I can win this game. I will go for the Brutal Swing bait first, and that's a stone cold no shield from my opponent. And due to multiple errors on my part, this game is now going to be a loss. It's a completely winnable game. If I throw 1 Fury Cutter and then pivot into the Druddigon, I can preserve the Scizor with an ability to Night Slash that Licky later on, or if I just don't get my bait called in the Slowbro matchup. Either way, I would have been fine. Here, I try for the catch, but it's just never going to happen, and I will concede the match. We're in very familiar territory in the next match, Shadow Scizor versus Licky, and you already know what the game plan is. We've been over this time and time again. We're just going to be calling baits. Maybe after watching this video, Licky players will finally start going for the nuke move, but until they do, I will keep punishing them with instant no shields. And again, it's a Body Slam. They're going to save switch into Slowbro, but unfortunately, this is not an answer to Scizor whatsoever. So my opponent is just completely core broken here, and Scizor should be able to completely run away with this game now, because Slowbro can't even farm down. So Scizor, I will farm up and throw the Night Slash right before they make their next Brutal Swing. And Night Slash, it's boosted, it's super effective, and that's just gonna one-hit KO. In comes Skeledirge, I throw a couple Fury Cutters, and this time I'm actually able to get the switch out into Druddigon, and I make the Night Slash on the CMP tie. It's highly likely they were gonna throw on 3, so I felt fine playing that way. And now my winning play is to let the Druddigon go. I'm very close to a move on my Scizor. If I need it, I bring in the Slowbro. I do get 1 turn bring in again, which is unfortunate. Licky, at this point, I had lost count of their energy. They go for a Body Slam, and I build up to the back-to-back Brutal Swings. At this point, I think Skeledirge does actually win the cap tie, but my opponent has to make a prediction. I have a Brutal Swing, and I'm close enough to a Night Slash on Scizor that I could get either. Either move will KO. They predict that I try and go for a catch, which is their win con, and unfortunately for them, the game will end in a loss. Shadow Scizor versus Druddigon. This is a great lead. I could throw first, but the move won't KO. So I'm going to shield and look to overfarm until they're in Night Slash range. Druddigon gets the boost. They send in Skeledirge, but unfortunately, due to the boost animation popping up there, it didn't visually show the Skeledirge switch in for a minute. So I take an Incinerate on that Scizor, and in an instant, I lose like 60% of my HP, and they call a Brutal Swing bait as well, so I'm pretty instantly just completely lost off of that. I'm still not going to give up, but down 2 shields and having lost basically all of my Scizor's HP, I'm in trouble, and they were ABA weak to the Scizor. If that just didn't land, I'd be fine. Here, I'm going to wait the turn, switch to Scizor, and get the CMP sack swap. So not only do we win cap over my opponent, but we're able to get the catch. And I can only do that by waiting a turn and then switching there. That's my attempt to get back in this game. I'm going to bring in Dragonair. They're going to bring in a Dragonair of their own. I'm looking for the farm down. I get it, but the final Dragon Tail registered. I wasn't sure if it would. And that Dragon Tail registering means that I am too low. I'm getting farmed down. They're going to exit with the Brutal Swing. And my goodness, based on team comp, I should win that game. But my opponent played very well. And the animation confused me a little bit. And that cost me the loss. Hopping into the final match, one final Licky lead for the road. Surely this Licky will actually throw the nuke move. There's no way every single Licky that I faced baited a Shadow Scizor, right? Absolutely no way. So I'm going to immediately no shield. If you have the nuke move, throw it at me. And they still body slam. They are just addicted to baiting. Oh my goodness. Night Slash, it's boosted. It's going to KO. Opponent, you may have noticed something very interesting there. They brought in Medicham and then changed their mind and then brought in Scrafty. That gives me information on their whole line. So I end up just saving the Night Slash because I know the Night Slash can be better into the Medicham than it is into the Scrafty, and I go Dragonair. And I know that my Galarian Slowbro with a shield advantage will be able to completely clean up this game. So I'm going to be shielding every foul play here. Shielding a Power-Up Punch bait would feel very unfortunate, but luckily they just go straight to the foul play. And there is the Medicham. Medicham going to instantly be met with the Surf. Surf lands. It's not a particularly threatening attack. With Scrafty low and out of energy, and Medicham not being able to KO me with one move, and a move banked on Scizor, this game is over. Psychic does actually get a defense drop, but even so, there's still not a win con, so my opponent will resign the match. This team had unbelievably good results for me, and those who have tried it so far have had very positive results as well. So this is absolutely a team that I would recommend. Even though I saw a lot of Lickys, which is technically a negative lead, I was able to play around them because Licky players, having an Earthquake shielded really puts you at a disadvantage. So against Glassymons, people really like to go for baits because it's a Glassymon. They should always shield it. So by having a little bit of bravery and calling some baits, we were able to, I think, beat almost every Licky lead that we saw because they just absolutely refused to do anything other than bait body slams. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.